And welcome back, everyone, to Johnson City, Tennessee, the Memorial Center, which is also home to Buccaneer football here at ETSU. Let's take a look now at tonight's starting lineups.
And for College of Charleston, we spoke about Wheeless and Bowie. Bolton is the leading scorer, Lumpkin the leading rebounder, and a great shot blocker. Harris is the playmaker. For East Tennessee State, we've spoken about Childress and Johnson. Meeks is an inside player, Lawson a perimeter shooter, DeCoster the primary playmaker for this East Tennessee State team. The two coaches for this ball game, Ed DeChellis, the head coach in his 5th season at East Tennessee State, and has brought this program back from the brink. John Kress, of course, 22 years at College of Charleston, 536 and 130 overall, and 805 winning percentage. The College of Charleston leads 3 games to none. The last meeting was in March of the year 2000, Charleston defeating East Tennessee State 65-51.
Yeah, that was a game at the Southern Conference Tournament, which the College of Charleston came out, took a big lead, but had to hold on late. Now the keys to tonight's matchup.
Same for both teams. I think points are at a premium tonight, Tony. Two great defensive teams. Points off turnovers will be important. Second chance points, in other words, stickbacks, offensive rebounds. East Tennessee State, a very good rebounding team. And free throws, College of Charleston, one of the top free throw shooting teams in the country.
So there you have it, College of Charleston and ETSU, a big crowd expected here tonight. And I talked early before the introductions, Rich, about this facility also being used for football. Will depth perception be a hindrance to the opposing team? The opponent tonight, College of Charleston.
Spoke to a number of College of Charleston players before tonight's game. They indicated to me no particular concern about depth perception or background in this building. One thing that was mentioned is lighting. It is a big, cavernous building. The floor is not particularly evenly lit, but I think if shooting percentages are low tonight, Tony, it's going to be more about team defense than it is about shooting backgrounds.
And the College of Charleston, in their first 2 years in the Southern Conference, have set league records for fewest points allowed per game, and right now currently leading the league. The officials tonight, Antonio Petty, Gary Maxwell, and Mike Stewart.
You know, let's talk a little bit about these two teams in terms of recent games, too. We are talking about two hot basketball teams. College of Charleston winning 10 of its last 11 games. East Tennessee State winners of 8 of its last 9 ball games. So no surprise at all that these are the top teams in their respective divisions in the Southern Conference. Here's a look at the North Division. East Tennessee State with that half-game lead over UNC Greensboro, which College of Charleston defeated on Saturday afternoon in Charleston. In the South Division, College of Charleston with a 3-game lead on Chattanooga, and the Citadel and Georgia Southern tied for 3rd place at this point. Of course, the important thing about conference standings, the top 2 teams in each division will receive byes for the first round of the Southern Conference Tournament. That is critical to avoid having to play 4 games in 4 days in the conference championship.
Also important looking at the North App State starting to play excellent basketball after getting off to a slow start. They will be heard from. Jody Lumpkin along with Ronaldo Johnson. Cougars in the road maroon uniforms, and the Bucks will get the first opportunity of tonight's game.
And Charleston playing man-to-man defense, as you might expect. They will play some zone as well, match up, and the immediate turnover.
And the Cougars force a turnover. That's something normally that ETSU does to their opponents. See, East Tennessee State defensively is very tough. Bolton left open for 3. And Meeks pulls down the rebound. DeCoster finds an open teammate. And the 3 no good, but the tip is good by Ronaldo Johnson.
As we said in our pregame, he is arguably the most effective Buccaneer in Southern Conference play, averaging nearly 6 rebounds and over 11 points per contest. Zone defense now by East Tennessee, and Charleston punches it right inside to Leighton Bowie.
Leighton Bowie, the sophomore out of Port Charlotte, Florida, will head to the free throw line.
Bowie is a guy who had such a good freshman season, expectations very high this season, and he has not disappointed in the sense that he averages 10 points a game. Look in here, College of Charleston punching the ball right inside along the baseline against the 2-3 defense to find Leighton Bowie.
Now Bowie gets the friendly bounce on the first offering.
As you might expect, he's a 76.7% free throw shooter, 56 of 73 on the season.
Bowie hits a pair. Early on tied at 2. Now, most folks that you talk to think this will be a low-scoring game.
Charleston with some pressure in the backcourt, man-to-man. Not necessarily looking for a turnover, but trying to draw out the clock a little bit, put some time pressure on this East Tennessee State team.
Childress out to DeCoster. Excellent ball movement for ETSU. Nice pass inside. Scramble, Meeks, turn around, and it's 4-2 ETSU.
Adrian Meeks averages 7 points, 5 rebounds per game, the 6'6 senior from Lexington, Mississippi.
One of the things that's been so neat, I guess, to watch ETSU in film is how well they pass the ball once they get into the lane. Did it right there. Bolton is fouled up front by Lawson.
Ryan Lawson, a sophomore from Rogersville, Tennessee, with a tough assignment there going up against the third leading scorer in the Southern Conference, Jeff Bolt.
18.5 minutes remaining in the first half from Johnson City.
Inbounding on the side and showing a 2-3 defense, East Tennessee State.
Bolton. The Cougars have shot the ball extremely well as of late. 3 of their last 6 have shot 50% or better after only 3 times in the first 16 ball games.
Charleston working its zone continuity offense, finding Lumpkin in the middle.
East Tennessee State leads the league in steals, and they get one right there. Childress, DeCoster.
Notice Lumpkin backing off, giving a shot, and Meeks makes him pay for it, Tony.
He will shoot the 17-footer, and it's a 4-point lead. Lawson working against Bolton.
Man-to-man defense. East Tennessee will mix up the defenses against College of Charleston.
Leighton Bowie misses. Jody Lumpkin had the rebound, and it's lost out of bounds. And a nice play defensively by Johnson, who was able to pry it away from Lumpkin and throw it off Lumpkin. It'll be ETSU ball.
The start of this ball game, absolutely critical to College of Charleston. Of course, a look right here at the rebound by Lumpkin, and the ball dragged away from him by Ronaldo Johnson and tossed out of bounds off of Jody Lumpkin.
Meeks has already got 4 tonight. Johnson to easy 2. Good position underneath by Ronaldo. Got Bowie on his outer hip, and then he went and slammed it home.
Pinned Bowie away from the basket. Was about to say earlier, Tony, a good start for the visiting team here. College of Charleston absolutely critical to the Cougars' chances. This East Tennessee State team plays great team defense. You cannot afford to fall behind against a team like this, especially playing on its home court.
Of course, coming off a 51-point win Saturday night. Troy Wheeless cannot answer. He's been shooting much better. That shot off to the right. 8-2 ETSU. And Lawson is fouled by Jeff Bolton.
Bolt. East Tennessee State operating very well inside. A pass big to big. That's Adrian Meeks to Ronaldo Johnson. And Johnson, as you called it, Tony, with Leighton Bowie pinned on his hip, was able to finish with authority.
Quick release. 10-2 ETSU. Tomiko Childress.
The Buccaneers' leading scorer, averaging nearly 14 points per game, Tomiko Childress.
You're talking to the ETSU folks before the game. They said when they come out and play well early, they usually win. So far, so good. They're on an 8-0 run as ETSU.
They are rolling right now, Tony, on both ends of the floor. Very active on defense.
Jeff Bolton cannot answer. And the long rebound by ETSU.
East Tennessee State, one of the top rebounding teams differential-wise in the Southern Conference, as reflected by the statistic just put up by our crew.
Childress out to Ronaldo Johnson. And now the Bucks will reset the offense. Johnson against the Charleston man-to-man. Very patient as Johnson knocks down Harris. They go inside. Ronaldo Johnson banks it in. John Kress wanting a foul as Johnson hit the floor. I should say Harris hit the floor.
Johnson adjusting the shot to arc it over Jody Lumpkin and knocking it in off glass.
A 10-0 run by ETSU, and they've built a 10-point lead.
John Kress's worst fear recognized right here, Tony Schufo.
Wheeless. To A.J. Harris underneath. Leighton Bowie gets it, and he breaks a 10-0 run. Leighton Bowie with 4 points. Charleston now down by 8, and a steal by Jeff Bolton. Charleston looking to run. Lob into Bolton. Bad pass by A.J. Harris. Down by 8. You've got the numbers. Might want to be a little more careful. Early on, it is all ETSU. They lead it 12-4, 14:58 remaining in the first half. You're watching college basketball on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. And welcome back, everyone. ETSU with a 12-4 lead. And Richard, taking a look at the numbers early on, you can certainly see why.
Team stats, all ETSU, 6 of 7 from the floor versus 1 of 5 for College of Charleston. And in the rebounding category, East Tennessee State with all 5 of the boards that have been available, Tony. A 5-0 edge on College of Charleston there.
And Ronaldo Johnson early on with 6 points.
We told you Ronaldo Johnson has led this team in scoring in Southern Conference games. It is not a coincidence. He is a bouncy, active interior player. You must be prepared to defend against him at all times.
John Kress will go to his bench and bring in the freshman Thomas Mobley and also the sophomore guard Tyrone Nelson.
Mobley's going to have his hands full with Johnson, a veteran player, a senior.
Cougars stay with their man-to-man. Lawson got around Bolton, may have traveled, gets it off to Johnson, and now a jump ball will be called underneath, and it will be College of Charleston basketball.
You can see a few unhappy faces on the part of the East Tennessee State Buccaneers, most notably Ronaldo Johnson. Let's take a look what happens here. The penetration by Ryan Lawson and the pitch inside. The ball very briefly tied up before it's swatted by Jody Lumpkin. Ronaldo Johnson making the claim that it was so briefly tied up that it should not have been considered a tie-up at all.
Charleston will try to make it a 6-point game. This trip now facing a man-to-man defense.
The changing defensive looks, we've seen man, we've seen 2-3 zone. East Tennessee will also play 1-3-1 zone, Tony.
Jeff Bolton, his first bucket of the night. It's a 12-6 game.
Charleston sorely needs Jeff Bolton to put his offensive house in order at this juncture. The leading scorer on this team, 3rd leader in the conference.
And the first rebound of the night for the Cougars. Wheeless, Jody Lumpkin. In the lane, first 2 of the night for Lumpkin, and it's a 4-point game.
Transition basket for College of Charleston. If you're struggling against a team's half-court defense, look to push transition and create opportunities that way. Charleston successful that time.
And another jump ball. Good defense as the Cougars brought the pressure rich into double team at midcourt.
And with a couple quick baskets, College of Charleston right back in this one, Tony. 12-8 East Tennessee State.
So the Cougars have answered the 10-0 run by the Bucks, scoring the last 6 points of their own. TSU coming off their largest win in league history for the Bucks. 51 points on Saturday. The drive and the foul will send ETSU to the line. Cliff DeCoster, the junior out of Miramar, Florida, will shoot a pair.
Cliff DeCoster with the penetration against Ty Nelson for College of Charleston. DeCoster, again, primarily a playmaker, more known as a point guard than as a scorer, although he does average 8 points a game. He's not a very good perimeter shooter, certainly statistically 6 for 30. He's a fair free throw shooter, 45 of 67 on the season, 67.2% coming into tonight's ballgame.
If there's one chink in the armor for ETSU, it would be the free throw shooting, where they missed the first. They are last in the Southern Conference at 60% coming in. College of Charleston second in the league at 77%, but that ranks 3rd nationally.
And some fresh faces on the floor for East Tennessee State, Adrian Meeks and DJ McDuffie. McDuffie, an extremely good player to have coming off your bench, a veteran player. He can play any of the perimeter positions, 1, 2, or 3, and he has 918 career points for East Tennessee State, Tony, so a nice player to be able to bring in off of that bench.
Thomas Mobley with the rebound on a pair of misses. Charleston trailing by 4. They trailed by as many as 10 just a couple of minutes ago. John Kress went to his bench, and to this point it has paid off. Bolton, nice pump fake. Missed it, shot short, and the rebound by ETSU. They'll try to run as well. McDuffie, he's a young man that certainly looks to score. Charleston getting back nicely on defense. Under 13 minutes remaining in the first half.
Would expect Tomiko Childress to become more involved with this offense, Tony.
Baseline for Meeks. Backing in against Lumpkin. Over Lumpkin, and the soft touch gives his club a 6-point lead.
Adrian Meeks off to a good start in this ball game, establishing the willingness to take the ball right at Jody Lumpkin and the Cougars' interior defense.
Cougars looking underneath for Lumpkin. Good defense underneath by ETSU. Now they get it to Jody, who's fouled. Shot no good, but he will go to the free throw line. With 12:25 remaining in the first half.
Charleston very patient in that offensive possession, looking to bang the ball inside to Jody Lumpkin. Lumpkin, a good free throw shooter for a big man, 76% coming into this ball game.
Folks here at ETSU have been great. Ran into one of our good friends this afternoon, Tony Skoll, who's the head baseball coach here, played at the Citadel.
And actually a former sports information director at College of Charleston, Nikki Zuber, from back in the 1980s, working on the scorers table for East Tennessee State tonight. So a few familiar faces for College of Charleston and Charleston area athletic fans.
Coach Skoll and his Bucks will be in action at Troy State coming up this weekend. And the first home game February 3rd against Xavier. They will be in Charleston for the SoCon season March 3rd. So good to see Tony. Here's a three by McDuffie, and he got it.
DJ McDuffie, not known as a great perimeter shooter, 13 of 56, 23.2% coming into this ball game, but he stepped right up and stuck that one, Tony.
Underneath, Mobley. Added strip. Good defense by the Bucks, and they'll look to run. Childress will launch a three, in and out. Rebound, Troy Wheeless.
Boy, a great look in transition for Tomiko. Childress, College of Charleston, lucky to dodge that one. East Tennessee State on the verge of building that lead back up near double digits again if that had been made.
That would have been a 10-point lead had that three gone. Here's Mobley, jump hook, left it short, and the rebound by the Bucks. And a foul, I think, by Jody Lumpkin. Let's see.
Transitioning back on defense, Lumpkin tangles with Childress.
In fact, the foul will go against Jeff Bolton. That's his second. Timeout on the floor. ETSU a 7-point lead here on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. Tomorrow evening on CSS, two important games from the Big East and Big Ten. First at 7:30 Eastern, 7th-ranked Syracuse battles number 20 Boston College. Then at 9:30 p.m., it's Purdue and number 18 Wisconsin. CSS, it's your source for sports in the Southeast.
Tony, we talked before the game about the kind of defense these teams are capable of playing, and so far College of Charleston struggling on the offensive end. 3 of 9 from the floor, 4 points apiece by Leighton Bowie and Jody Lumpkin. But East Tennessee State, 8 of 11 from the floor, and Adrian Meeks and Ronaldo Johnson doing major damage inside. That's the reason why the percentage is so good. 6 points apiece for those two interior scorers.
Joe Wording, the freshman out of Atlanta, has entered the lineup for John Kress as the Cougars show a zone this trip down. And it may have been blocked underneath. Good defense as Childress drove the lane.
Childress trying to do a little too much, try to make too much happen with that penetration move right there, Tony.
Cougars will look to cut into a 7-point deficit. Ty Nelson finds Thomas Mobley, and he will go to the line. Freshman out of Charlotte. A strong move underneath.
Nelson with the bounce pass to Mobley, and Mobley, as you called it, Tony, look at the build on Mobley, and you can see the strength and the explosion in this move. Could not quite finish given the contact, but Thomas Mobley, a bright future for College of Charleston, freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina. This is one of the areas where he's particularly effective, Tony, a very good free throw shooter.
Indeed, 86% on the year. He left the first one short. Happens every time.
It never fails. But it doesn't change the fact that he's a very good free throw shooter.
Had one string earlier in the season where he hit 17 consecutive free throws.
That 1.9 rebound statistic has got to change, though, if Mobley's going to play more and contribute for this team. With his physical ability, leaping ability, and strength, he must average more than 1.9 rebounds to be a factor in this team's rotation.
Mobley to the bench after hitting 1 of 2, and Leighton Bowie. 4 early points. We'll check back in. Charleston back to the zone. Give it off on the baseline to Gerald Fields. And a long three is short. Offensive rebound, Johnson.
Neither team shooting the three particularly well to this juncture, Tony.
And a foul against College of Charleston. I think Leighton Bowie that time was riding the hip of Cliff DeCoster.
And you may notice Jeff Bolton off the floor for College of Charleston with foul trouble. Bowie picking up the foul right there. DeCoster with the penetration move. No doubt about it. The blocking foul against Bowie.
Fields Got Bowie in the air. Lumpkin may have gotten a piece of it. Leighton Bowie gets the rebound. Charleston will try to beat the Bucks big men down the floor, and they did it that time. TSU got back on defense.
He's about to say Jeff Bolton off the floor for College of Charleston right before break. I called a foul on Jody Lumpkin. It was on Bolton, his second, and he's taking a seat on the bench.
Nice look by Troy Wheeless to find the backdoor cutting Tyrone Nelson.
Occasionally, East Tennessee State will overplay and will gamble with their switching defenses, and that time caught out of position were the Buccaneers.
McDuffie thought about the three. Coster will penetrate, kiss it off the glass, no good. Foul on ETSU.
Good defensive rebounding position there by Joe Wording, creating the foul.
Team foul number 5 on the Bucks. Good strong move. And as you mentioned, Joe Wording, who has gotten better and better each game, especially on the rebounding end.
Tomiko Childress picking up the foul, and that will result in Sam Oatman, 6'1" freshman from Neenah, Wisconsin, stepping on the floor in the backcourt for East Tennessee. Now, here's the 1-3-1 defense that we spoke about earlier for the Buccaneers.
Jody Lumpkin, double team, foul. And Lumpkin will head to the line.
Charleston attacking that one on the wing and then looking for Lumpkin to roll from the high post to the low block area, catches the ball and draws the foul.
Jody Lumpkin, who will in May earn his master's degree in math. And the first attempt is no good by Lumpkin, who's now 2 for 3 from the line. Quinton Hollis, freshman out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, checks in for the Cougars and will spell Troy Wheeless. Lumpkin, married this past September 16th. He hits 1 of 2. Maggie Lumpkin, his wife, I'm sure, watching tonight. College of Charleston once trailed by 10 and have cut the deficit down to 3. It's 17-14.
Zone defense has helped the Cougars a little bit in this stretch, Tony.
Holtman got it into Johnson, but he lost it, and now Bowie throws it away.
Careless pass by Leighton Bowie. In games where points are at a premium, turnovers are absolute killers. You must maximize each possession. Good look at the coaches, Ed DeChellis, and there's John Kress for College of Charleston.
Oatman is 6'1", 180-pound freshman. Neenah, Wisconsin, baseline. Dumped it inside, and they call a foul. No, a kicked ball, so they'll reset the shot clock, and ETSU will inbound. College of Charleston early, Rich defensively wasn't getting the job done. It looked like John Kress's crew has picked up the pace just a bit.
Again, I think the switch to zone defense has helped. Early on, East Tennessee State did tremendous damage inside.
Fields is mugged underneath and nearly got it to go. Instead, he'll go to the line and shoot 2.
And once again, the Bucks, even against a zone, able to punch the ball inside. Should be a big man pass to a big man. The drop inside to Ronaldo Johnson, and he looks across to Gerald Fields. Good-looking freshman from Gainesville, Florida, Gerald Fields. Not able to convert, but able to go to the line for 2.
ETSU may very well be the best interior passing team in this league. As Fields hits the first free throw, only a 59% free throw shooter. Bucks now 1 of 3 from the line tonight.
You could make the case that with the exception of Corey Seals, who is about to step onto the floor right now, that East Tennessee State does not have a true center per se, a true back-to-the-basket type of player. But the Bucks have a lot of guys in that 6'6", 6'7" range who are comfortable working on the interior, strong enough and mobile enough to create problems for interior defenses.
5-point lead again for ETSU.
And again, it's 1-3-1 defense. The ball reversal for the jump shot right there.
Nelson, too strong. And the rebound pulled down by Childress. Quickly down court, Ty Nelson gets the steal. Here's a 2-on-2. Nelson down the lane, off to Quinton Hollis. Tough shot, and he drew air.
A bit of a force and a double pump there by Hollis, who looked like a freshman on that opportunity. Steals one of the reasons Charleston's hanging around in this ballgame, struggling on the offensive end, but they have 5 steals to the East Tennessee State Buccaneers 2.
Oatman looking to penetrate, off to McDuffie. Johnson from about 17, that one's too strong, and eventually it goes off of Charleston. It will remain ETSU basketball.
Tomiko Childress actually had a crack at that one on the weak side rebound, Tony, and it was knocked away by Quinton Hollis.
11 seconds on the shot clock. And the inbound pass up top to McDuffie. Oatman is a shooter. Speaking of shooters, McDuffie, the three's too strong. In fact, went over the top of the backboard. It'll be College of Charleston ball. Pretty good call by Stewart, Mike Stewart, the official right in front of us.
Well, DJ McDuffie stuck his first three-pointer from the left wing. That time with the shot clock running down, not a real good-looking shot, Tony.
Jeff Bolton will check back in, as will Troy Wheeless. Rudy Rothside, the sophomore out of Alachua, Florida, will also check in for John Kress.
Give Jody Lumpkin a quick break.
Rothside twisted his ankle just a bit yesterday in practice, but he told me earlier he'd be okay to play.
I think Troy Wheeless is going to have to step up and hit some jump shots to break this 1-3-1 effectively, Tony.
Well, Wheeless has his opportunity here, an open three, and he left it short.
That shot will be there against this defense.
Near steal by Bolton. Oatman. Baseline, McDuffie, blocked by Rothside, and then tipped back inbounds by Wheeless. Nice play by Troy Wheeless. The line to Jeff Bolton. Wow, what a pass from Tyrone Nelson.
Jeff Bolton steps back on the floor and makes his presence felt immediately in transition.
And the oohs and ahs of this crowd here tonight.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. I'm oohing and ahhing myself at that one.
And that will bring some oohs and ahs as well as Childress steps up for a deep three-pointer.
He says, I'll give you two on the lob. I'll take back three on the J. Tomiko Childress, a 38% three-point shooter. You must know where he is at all times.
The Cougars had cut the lead to 3. The lob again. In the Bowie, he's got 6 as he lays it in.
Bowie with the presence of mind not to try to finish on the catch. Brought the ball back down, had plenty of time to put back up the layup.
Wasn't a particularly good pass by Nelson, but as you mentioned, Bowie did the right thing. McDuffie off to Childress. Cougars have stayed in a man-to-man now for quite a while.
This is zone here, Tony.
Underneath. And a foul called will send ETSU to the line. Corey Seals, who, oh, by the way, is from Charleston, will shoot 2.
Corey Seals, it was funny, I was talking with Ed DeChellis earlier in the day, and I used the old William Perry line. Corey Seals was big even when he was little. I've known him since he was in his early teens. Actually was involved with an AAU and YBOA program in Charleston. Corey Seals played for us at that time. He was a big 13-year-old, and he is an equally big 19-year-old.
Seals now 6 of 28 from the free throw line as Johnson and Childress will head to the bench, get a glad hand from their fans. Checking back in would be Gerald Fields.
A good look,
Ryan Lawson.
Good look at Corey Seals.
Question is, how does he leave the Port City and end up in Johnson City?
Well, it's a bit of a long story. He actually left Charleston, went to a prep school, then went to high school in Florida for a year and was a much sought-after recruit. East Tennessee State considers itself fortunate to have landed Corey Seals.
And Seals missed a pair. Charleston trailing by 4. They have trailed by as many as 10, and a near steal by Lawson. Rudy Rothside left it short. Rudy has been struggling from the field, and he came up short that trip.
That is the truth. He had a good look right there, Tony.
Nice move underneath. Lawson now has it.
You can see Charleston 6 of 16 from the floor. East Tennessee State still converting at a 50% rate.
Bowie nearly had the steal. It'll remain ETSU ball. 5:44 to go in the first half. Cougars have cut the lead down to 4. Let's take a timeout. You're watching CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. Cougars on a 20-6 run. Let's send it over quickly to Nate Ross.
You guys, interestingly enough, you listen to timeouts as I got the privilege with Coach Kress. You think he talks about great comeback, great comeback. He never mentions that. He talks about the next play on offense, the next play on defense. He just tells them, guys, great job, keep playing. Back to you guys. That's the way he runs it.
You know, Rich, kind of hard to have a 20-10 run when you've only scored 18 points. Not a math major like Jody Lumpkin, but I can at least figure that out. It is a 16-10 run by the Cougars, who once trailed in this game 12-2.
John, a good look at College of Charleston coach John Kress right there. Speaking with one of our officiating crew, Gary Maxwell.
Lawson inbound as the Cougars go back to a man-to-man.
And the points in the paint, East Tennessee State doing some damage inside, especially earlier in the game. Good 6 points apiece by Meeks and Johnson.
Coster high off the glass, and it's a 6-point lead.
East Tennessee State got off to the great start in this ball game and has essentially held College of Charleston at bay. The Cougars have made a couple of good runs as the first half has progressed, but each time East Tennessee State has had an appropriate response.
A.J. Harris will dumping it to Bolton, who post Lawson. Nice move, and he will go to the line. You know, Bolton obviously listed as a guard, 6'3", but showing his physicality down on the block.
Well, Jeff Bolton is accustomed to that post-up action, not only on offense, but teams occasionally will try to post him up as well. You're talking about a 1-inch height advantage. You're also talking about a 2-year experience advantage. Jeff Bolton, a 4th-year junior, going against Ryan Lawson, a sophomore. The physicality edge there to College of Charleston's Jeff Bolton.
And the Cougars 6 of 9 from the free throw line, and Jeff Bolton misses his first.
And speaking of physicality, Tomiko Childress back on the floor for East Tennessee State, the leading scorer for the Buccaneer team coming into this ball game, as is Ronaldo Johnson, stepping in for Corey Seals.
A couple of good minutes for Corey Seals. Will head to the bench. Cougars with some pressure in the backcourt.
2-2-1 zone pressure by College of Charleston. Looking to trap at or near the midcourt area or just over the line.
DeCoster, nice move around Lumpkin. Give it off to Johnson, and he left it short, and Lumpkin gets the rebound.
Boy, East Tennessee State did everything right but the finish. They got the ball to DeCoster, who put it into Johnson's hands, simply could not convert the point-blank shot.
Leighton Bowie already with 6 points underneath his teammate Bolton. Tough shot. How did he get it off with 3 bucks around him? And it's a 3-point game.
Jeff Bolton's got a lot of different offensive weapons. He's a great 3-point shooter. We saw him convert a lob with a spectacular dunk.
And A.J. Harris with the takedown midcourt. A.J. Harris, not much of a shooter, maybe better suited for football.
And it should be a 1-and-1 opportunity here for East Tennessee State. Charleston looking to trap and go after it very aggressively, and Harris with the reach in will send Cliff DeCoster to the line. Here's the back to the basket move by Jeff Bolton. Look at that, spinning over his right shoulder, knocking the ball in off glass.
3-point advantage for ETSU, making a 4-point lead. DeCoster nails the first.
67% free throw shooter, Cliff DeCoster, 6'1" junior from Miramar, Florida.
You know, we mentioned ETSU baseball. Got to talk about COC baseball. College of Charleston head coach John Pulowski and his Cougars open at 5 o'clock Friday over at Patriot Point Stadium in Mount Pleasant. First game ever in the new stadium. And the first annual Cougar Classic is that afternoon. DeCoster hits a pair and the lead's back to 5. So if you're interested, get out and support Cougar baseball. And if you're in the Johnson City area, support ETSU baseball. Here's Bolton. Joe Wording spots up for 3. And the Cougs are now 0 for 5 from behind the arc. DeCoster. Flips it to his teammate Childress. The Cougars got back nicely on defense. Johnson almost lost it and eventually throws it away. The turnover for ETSU will be their 7th of the game.
The turnover bug has taken a bite out of East Tennessee State in this first half.
ETSU jumped out to a 10-point lead. It's now 5, 3:59 to go in the first half. Here on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast.
Now there's a familiar face to college basketball fans in Charleston in the South Carolina Low Country. East Tennessee State assistant coach Tom Conrad, former head coach of the Charleston Southern University Buccaneers. So he goes from the Charleston Southern Buccaneers to the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. Tom Conrad.
Yeah, a long time for Tom and his wife in the Charleston area. In fact, 10 years he was at CSU.
As an assistant to Gary Edwards, and then as the head coach, I believe, for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, Tony.
Ball knocked away right in front of us. It'll remain College of Charleston ball. He and his wife, Cheryl, he was the associate head coach under Gary Edwards. And didn't fare too well against John Kress, was 0-4, but you know one thing, he certainly helped Ed DeCellis in his scouting report, seeing John's team many times.
Yeah, nobody knows the Cougars better than Tom Conrad.
If it's not Tom Conrad, maybe Pat Dennis over at the Citadel. Underneath the Jody Lumpkin.
It's the 2-3 zone defense. Charleston looking to attack. Quite often openings on the baseline against this defense. It tends to crawl up off the baseline and give some openings.
Bolton misses. Put back by Joe Wording as he crashed the boards from the weak side. It's a 3-point game.
The Frosh from Atlanta, Georgia with the stick back. And of course all zone defenses subject to offensive rebounding moves such as that by Wording.
Right now it's a battle of the zone defenses as the Cougars. 3 is short, but the long rebound picked up by ETSU. The putback no good. Johnson blocked by Mobley. Childress got his own rebound, and then Johnson missed the putback. Charleston with a chance to cut it to 1 or possibly tie with a 3. Cougars have yet to get an offense. Actually, Wording got the first offensive rebound of the night for Charleston. Ty Nelson will find Wording.
You can see East Tennessee State, a very aggressive defensive team. They will come after you. Lots of hands, lots of bump. One of the reasons why they have such great statistical
shot clock running
defense.
down, and Nelson had to shoot it, and he got his own rebound. Under 2.5 to go in the first half. And a 30-second timeout will be called by John Kress against the zone. He's looking to get Troy Wheeless back in the game.
This is one of those use it or lose it timeouts, Tony, and I think John Kress realizing the importance of these possessions as we wrap up the first half.
First offensive board of the night by Charleston came off another 3-point miss, but Wording, who John Kress talked to earlier today, Rich, and he told the young man, don't worry about your minutes, but you're playing very well right now. Continue to do that for us.
Joe Wording came to College of Charleston as sort of a low-profile recruit, Tony. Not much expected of him his freshman year. There were some people who thought he might redshirt his freshman year, but instead he has managed to maintain an active position, work his way into the rotation. He is known primarily as a jump shooter, but if he can bring around a more complete game and bring that to the table, including rebounding, which he should be good at given his physique, this is a guy who figures to be a very productive player of the ensuing 3 years at College of Charleston.
So the Cougars, who trailed 12-2, have battled their way back to get it within 3. And ETSU got off to a slow start this year, 1 win in the first month of the season, but you can see this team got better game after game after game. And not only are they a threat the rest of the season, but they're a threat to win the Southern Conference tournament.
They also have a tremendous home court advantage. This building here, the Memorial Center, is one tough place to play, as the College of Charleston Cougars are finding out tonight. As this team has chalked up more and more wins, the fans beginning to get a little more enthusiastic about these Bucks. Folks may remember Les Robinson coaching here, as well as Alan LaForce at East Tennessee State, and the impact of some of those great East Tennessee State teams from the late 80s and early 90s. They would annually go out and play some of the big-time teams in the country. In fact, they beat Arizona in a first-round NCAA playoff game back in 1992, if I'm not mistaken, and established quite a reputation for this program at that time.
Alan LaForce, an answer to a trivia question, may be pretty tough to answer. Can you name the last College of Charleston head coach before John Kress? Of course, it was none other than Alan LaForce from 1970 to 1979. He won 108 games here at ETSU, did Coach LaForce.
A real gentleman, Alan LaForce.
Super young man, or super man, I should say. Leighton Bowie back in with the shot clock now at 5. They find Lumpkin. Powered it in. Jody Lumpkin just bowled his way to the basket, and it's a 1-point game.
East Tennessee State may have mobile, quick interior players, but Jody Lumpkin definitely has an edge in sheer physicality on the low block.
Lumpkin showing why, by many thought to be the Southern Conference's most valuable player this season. Top 10 in a number of offensive categories and defensive categories. 1-point game. Childress finds an open teammate, and the long three is no good. Loose ball out of bounds, and ETSU regains possession with 1:30 remaining in the half.
The zone defense has really reduced the inside looks for East Tennessee State. The Bucks got off early in this game. with some good inside offense, but they've been settling for a lot of perimeter jumpers, three-point attempts in the last several minutes against the zone defense. I think that has helped College of Charleston scrap back into this one, Tony.
One of the things we saw when they jumped out to the 12-2 lead is great interior passing. They were shooting right around the basket. Good point. College of Charleston trailing by 1. McDuffie, great penetrator, and it's a three-point game.
Now that's not supposed to happen against zone. Dribble penetration, and I know an unhappy coach on the College of Charleston sideline right now.
Cougars got to within 1. ETSU has built the margin back to 3. Under a minute to go in the half, and Tyrone Nelson will go to the free throw line as away from the ball. He took a bump from Fields, I think it was. Nelson will shoot the 1-and-1.
Indeed, it was Fields trying to fight through a screen, if I'm not mistaken. Tyrone Nelson to the line. Nelson, a 5'11" redshirt junior from Lithonia, Georgia. And again, dare I say, a good free throw shooter, Tony. 79.6% coming in.
First foul on Fields, and the 8th on ETSU as Nelson calmly misses the first.
I'm not saying it again.
Cougars coming in, the number 3 ranked team in the country in free throw shooting, and thanks to Richard, they probably leave town probably about number 10. It's a 3-point ETSU lead, under a minute to go in the half. Boy, if you're Ed DeChellis, to get this margin back to 5 or 6 before the break would be nice.
Yeah, it would be monumental here, Tony, because his team has played a very good first half. They deserve to be up by more than one possession.
Air ball by McDuffie.
Too many jump shots, though, I fear, for East Tennessee State over the last 5 to 8 minutes of this half.
Well, ETSU has not won a game in which they've trailed at halftime, and it doesn't, I should say, look like they're going to trail in this one. They lead by 3. Cougars will hold for the final possession. Troy Wheeless, 6 seconds remaining in the half, launches a 3. Too strong, tipped by Wording, and no foul called, and the first half is over.
Not necessarily what Charleston wanted there, the one-on-one move by Troy Wheeless, but Wording with a great opportunity on the weak side rebound. The look of disbelief on John Kress's face as he leaves the floor with his College of Charleston Cougars trailing
Let's
by 3.
send it over to Nate Ross.
You're a coach, Ed DeChellis, East Tennessee coach. You got the big lead early. Normally that doesn't hold up, but you held off a lot of their runs during that first half.
Well, Nate, they're a very good basketball team, and I think both teams are going to make some runs. I just hope we can make the last one. We really got stagnant against their zone. We got to go in and clean that up at halftime.
I believe that tip that didn't go into the end was only their second offensive rebound the entire first half. Did a good job on
Well, yeah, we got to. We got to try to keep this bunch off the glass. You know, they're really athletic and really strong, so that was one of the keys coming in.
All right, good luck in the second half.
Thanks, Nate.
Coach Ed DeChellis, now we'll send it back to Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Some of the Buck fans, they are happy because their team has a 3-point lead at intermission. They once led by as many as 10. 28-25. Let's take a timeout. You're watching CSS.
Okay, we're back here at the Mini Dome, 28-25. East Tennessee State ahead of the College of Charleston at halftime. And we're very honored to have the athletic director at East Tennessee State, Mr. Todd Stansbury, with us. And from the CSS Network, we'd like to welcome Mr. Stansbury. He's only been in East Tennessee since July, so you're the newlywed. You got that 1 year. What are your impressions of the Southern Conference? This gentleman was an administrator at Georgia Tech and played at Georgia Tech. What are your impressions of the Southern Conference in the short period of time you've been here?
Hey, I'm going to tell you something, Ned. You know, we got a 3-point game here at halftime. Southern Conference ACC is not much different from where I'm sitting.
You know, we talked before we went on camera. I was an assistant coach for Bobby Cremens. He worked with Bobby Cremens, but unfortunately we can't tell you those stories right now. We'll talk about them afterwards. But Mr. Stansbury, we want to welcome you to the Southern Conference. And obviously, Coach DeChellis, since you've been here, has done a great job. You've told him the right things.
Well, timing's everything.
Exactly. His team's doing great, and they're on a roll right now in the Southern Conference.
You got to love it. You know, we're in the hunt right now. We're leading the Northern Division. It's a tight race. You know, right now we got a war between the North and the South going on here in Johnson City.
And as an administrator, you got to love it. This place is filling up like the old days, like it used to.
Yeah, I was just down in Hilton Head with Bobby and his buddy Les Robinson, and those were the good old days, I guess, back here when he was here, and we're looking to get back there with Eddie.
Well, everybody loves a winner. and that's how it happens. What you don't know about this gentleman is his out of office activities are a little different. Why don't you tell the people a little bit what I read about in the media guide?
Probably that I've tracked the mountain gorillas in the Congo and been through the Himalayas, and I've been actually all over the world.
That's amazing. And being an athletic director of Southern Conference School, it's a cakewalk compared to that kind of stuff. We're going to thank you very much for being with us, and welcome to the Southern Conference.
Hey, thanks a lot.
All right, we'll be back with the second half and a great basketball here from Johnson City right after this. Here with Coach John Kress at halftime, and Coach, East Tennessee jumped down to a big lead. That usually doesn't last in a basketball game. It didn't. Your active hands really got you back in the game, and then you started hitting the boards a little bit.
Yes, Nate, we weathered the storm as they jumped on us early, and we were really just a little lackadaisical, and we, caught them with some steals, some good buckets in transition. But the thing is, we're only 9 for 24 from the floor. We're a better shooting team than this. They've out-rebounded us. We know they're very aggressive. We've got to put body on body. And the last stat is Jody Lumpkin only had 2 shots, and he made both. We've got to try to go to our big guy so he can create for himself or other teammates. It won't be easy, but that's got to be done. A little better defense, a little better shooting. Go to the big guy, the big Turk inside, Jody Lumpkin.
That's how the College of Charleston does it. Defense and go inside. We'll see if it works in the second half. Good luck,
Thank
Coach.
you very much, Nate. Thank you.
And now we'll send it back to Tony for second half.
Thank you, Nate. And taking a look at the Charleston bench, and good look at Jody Lumpkin. Also a number, when you look at Lumpkin's line here at halftime, only 1 rebound. He's obviously one of the top rebounders in the league.
Ed DeChellis, deep in thought. He has an opportunity here to pull what many would consider to be a major upset. But, folks, these are both hot teams. Each one leads its respective division in the Southern Conference. East Tennessee State in the north, College of Charleston in the south. East Tennessee State comes in with 8 of 9 victories. College of Charleston with 10 of its last 11. So you've got essentially a Southern Conference showdown right here in Johnson City.
Triple team is Bolton. He'll have to burn a timeout as the pass went on the baseline to Leighton Bowie, and he fumbled it. Luckily for the Cougars, he went right to Bolton, but the defense collapsed immediately.
A quick timeout by College of Charleston. Not at all unusual to see East Tennessee State scrambling after a loose ball like that, creating a double or even a triple team opportunity.
Now, you talk about Ed DeChellis. Obviously, he'd love to see that 12-2 run to start the second half like he did the first.
What he needs in this second half, I believe, is a little more patience and a little more consistency on the offensive end. The defensive end, the East Tennessee State Bucks are getting the job done. On the offense, not attack the zone well at the end of the first half, and I expect Charleston to come out and play a significant amount of zone here in the second half.
Now, the Cougars are 0 for 7 in this game from behind the arc.
And of course, East Tennessee State will show zone as well early in the second half on the inbounds play.
It's A.J. Harris, Troy Wheeless, Jeff Bolton, Leighton Bowie. Bolton may have been blocked, and the rebound by ETSU. Good defense by the Bucks.
The slash to the basket by Bolton, unable to finish there.
Lawson gives it up top to Johnson. Cougars come out in a man-to-man.
This is the defensive choice for College of Charleston, but quite often the zone has bailed the Cougars out this season.
Meeks underneath. Got it. Nice pass. Great interior passing again. And the lead is 5.
The penetration by DeCoster, the finish by Meeks. That's very much the way East Tennessee State started this ball game, Tony.
Bolton on the baseline. Double team. Finds Wheeless. John Kress, you certainly want to start the second half much better than you did the first.
It'll be interesting to see how long he goes with the man-to-man, Tony.
Lumpkin double team. Bolton open, hammered. Ronaldo Johnson will foul Jeff Bolton. The double team came, and Lumpkin knew what to do with it.
Lumpkin with the presence of mind and the physical ability to pass the ball to the weak side to his teammate cutting to the basket. And Bolton, a shrewd character himself, knows that when the double and triple team is there, the cut to the basket is available.
Bolton now 2 of 3 from the free throw line, makes it a 4-point game.
8 points now in this game for Jeff Bolton.
Bolton now just 3 points shy of 900 for his career.
Only a junior.
1 of 2 for Mr. Bolton, 4-point game. DeCoster nearly slipped, gets it off to his teammate. Now Meeks. He has had the hot hand. Can't continue, but the offensive rebound. The block by Bolton. Loose ball. Jeff Bolton comes down with it. Good defense by the Cougars. Wheeless for three. Got it! First three of the night for Charleston, makes it a 1-point game.
Opportunity basket in transition. The penetration and dish by Bolton to his teammate Wheeless for the spot-up jumper.
Closest Charleston has been. Lawson left open, hits a three. He answers Wheeless's bomb with a bomb of his own.
That has been the theme of the first half and early second half of this ball game, Tony. College of Charleston making runs, East Tennessee State with a response.
They have answered every College of Charleston question, and Lawson has just picked up his third foul. So 3 fouls on Lawson. A good look down defensively.
How do you get back into a ball game? College of Charleston struggling on the defensive glass to try to hold off East Tennessee State. A good look on a putback, but Leighton Bowie with the block, the scramble, and the loose ball comes out in Jeff Bolton's hands, springing the transition.
Leighton Bowie, 17:36 to go in the first half. Jeff Bolton, double team. And he is fouled. Bolton fouled by ETSU, and the foul will go against Tomiko Childress. 3,000 or so referees in the crowd don't particularly like the call.
Bolton posting up against Childress, and DeCoster coming in as well. Not sure whether it was Childress or DeCoster with the foul there, but either way, Jeff Bolton goes to the line for 2.
Bolton hits the first. Draws the Cougars to within 3. Charleston tied the game at 2, and then ETSU scored the next 10. Moments ago, Charleston cut it to 1 on a 3 by Wheeless, but Lawson answered with a 3 of his own, and Bolton now 3 of 6 from the free throw line.
That was one of our keys before this ball game, the ability to score easy points. Charleston, normally a great free throw shooting team, missing some free throws tonight.
The roll for Cliff DeCoster as he penetrated and got the 10-footer.
East Tennessee State slowly building a working margin early in the second half.
5-point lead. Bolton, Lumpkin, double team. Lumpkin missed it. Good defense by ETSU. Lumpkin may have forced that one. Here's Lawson. Meeks had it, and it's tipped out of bounds by Jeff Bolton. It'll stay ETSU basketball.
Watch the double team by East Tennessee State when the ball gets into Jody Lumpkin's hands on the low block. 2 big guys coming over, forcing Lumpkin to take an off-balance shot, which he predictably enough missed.
ETSU led by 3 at halftime. Chance to make it a... Oh, Lumpkin with the steal at midcourt. The big man rumbling, fouled, and it goes. Meeks on his back, it didn't matter. Now there's a highlight reel shot for you. Lumpkin showing some of his ability to get down the floor.
Jody Lumpkin shooting the gap on that pass, tipping it away and going coast to coast with Adrian Meeks. A soft pass, Lumpkin cutting through the middle, taking the ball, and Meeks, if you're going to commit the foul there, you must finish it and not allow the 3-point opportunity by the Cougar big man.
10 points now for Lumpkin, 4 of 5 from the line, and again, it's a 2-point game as the Cougars show pressure in the backcourt. Jody Lumpkin leads the Cougars in steals. Got a big one there. 3-point opportunity the hard way for Charleston. That could be a pivotal moment of this game because ETSU, the momentum was swinging their way, a chance to make it a 7-point game, and now it's down to 2.
College of Charleston back into the zone defense, and the good hands by the Cougars result in another turnover.
Jeff Bolton in transition. Tried to give his team the lead, and instead the 3-pointer goes over the backboard. So with 16:07 remaining, ETSU gets it back.
Jeff Bolton struggling a little bit with his shot this evening, Tony. It was a good look in transition. Trying to make things happen is the Cougar junior from Augusta, Georgia.
Adrian Meeks, by the way, that was his 3rd foul. Lawson dumps it into Meeks. Foul before the shot. Jody Lumpkin will be called for the personal foul.
Those 2 players working each other very hard, Tony. And for Jody Lumpkin, that is personal foul number 1.
It'll take us to a timeout. 15:51 to go. We've got a good one. Bucks by 2 here on CSS. next Southern Conference basketball game on CSS pits the Furman Paladins and these same College of Charleston Cougars from the John Kress Arena Saturday, February 10th. Game time, 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast.
And we have a gut-wrencher going here, Tony. 15:51 left in regulation. East Tennessee State with a 2-point lead in a low-scoring game against College of Charleston.
Team fouls here in the second half, 4 on ETSU, just 1 on the College of Charleston.
Charleston's made some hay at the free throw line in the second half, Tony, cutting into ETSU's margin.
Ronaldo Johnson, Meeks, double team finds Johnson. Nice look underneath, and the lead's back to 4.
Big to big. The interior passing by East Tennessee State has resulted in some great looks for the Bucks.
Second half, ETSU at 67%. College of Charleston at 40%.
1-3-1 zone.
A near steal as Meeks knocked away the pass intended for Bolton. I think Bolton wanted the lob for the dunk.
Yeah, pass needs to be thrown higher on the diagonal pass through the 1-3-1, Tony.
Cougars love to get it to Lumpkin here on the inbound. He nearly lost it. Tyrone Nelson.
East Tennessee State obviously coming out of the timeout invigorated on the defensive end. Very active in the zone. It's a 2-3 now.
Shot clock under 10, and it is knocked away out of bounds. And with 6 on the shot clock, College of Charleston will regain possession.
From a difficult spot, too, deep in the right-hand corner is College of Charleston. Not an easy spot to generate a quick shot from, Tony.
Troy Wheeless missed the long 3.
At least not a good quick shot.
Here come the Bucks. DeCoster over to Lawson. Meeks. 4-point ETSU lead. Just under 15 minutes remaining.
East Tennessee State's got a little more hop in its step coming out of the timeout, Tony. You can feel it.
Lawson will give it off to DeCoster. Shot clock now under 10.
Charleston will try to match defensive stand for defensive stand.
DeCoster swatted by Lumpkin out of bounds. First block tonight, number 221 of his career. He's second all-time in Southern Conference history as Jody Lumpkin, and he's only been at the College of Charleston. This is his 3rd year.
Lumpkin helping out his teammate Ty Nelson, swatting that shot by DeCoster away. DeCoster with the dribble penetration, and Lumpkin with the put away.
Shot clock at 4. Nelson got tied up underneath, left DeCoster wide open, and it's a 6-point game.
Once again, East Tennessee State. Charleston challenges the lead. East Tennessee State bounces back with a couple quick buckets.
Nelson. Thomas Mobley, who's checked in. Here's Troy Wheeless underneath Bolton. And he left it short. They have been too wide open.
And an
Meeks is
injury.
hurt.
Yes, an injury to Adrian Meeks there, coming off of that defensive possession. And
That doesn't look very good at all.
Reaching for the knee. Don't know whether he bumped knee to knee. Actually now looking more at an ankle type of grab, and he does have that ankle taped. You can see the right ankle is taped for Adrian Meeks.
And Meeks with a big game to this point. 8 points, 4 or 5 from the floor. He will hop to the bench.
Adrian Meeks and Ronaldo Johnson very active on the interior. You've cited the interior passing by the big guys, and they've done a great job, more than offsetting Jody Lumpkin and Leighton Bowie on the interior from College of Charleston.
Take a look underneath. Maybe we can see what happened. Meeks already hopping on the right ankle. Lawson around Mobley. Now the double team comes, gets it out to his teammate. Lawson is open.
Key juncture right here, Tony. College of Charleston cannot let East Tennessee State get much further ahead.
Steal by Lumpkin. Here comes Bolton. Tough pass by Nelson. And Bolton able to regather himself, get it off to Mobley, and he lays it in. With Jeff Bolton with a nice athletic move just to get to that pass and then find his teammate. And again, it's a 4-point game.
The catch is what created the opportunity there, Tony.
I think that Bolton had a prayer to keep that ball from going out of bounds.
No, I had already chalked up a turnover when it left the hands, but Bolton was able to suck it in and then make a pass to his teammate Mobley for the bucket.
Charleston back to the zone. Underneath, Johnson lays it in. They found an opening, Rich, and they made the Cougars pay.
The bounce pass from the short corner to the opposite block, and the finish by Johnson.
6-point game.
East Tennessee has picked up its zone attack in this half. Probably had a quick primer on that at halftime.
That ball may have been blocked. The rebound pulled down by the Bucks. Quickly down court. Here's Childress. May have forced it, and the Cougars will take the turnover. Quick outlet to Nelson. And a blocking foul called against ETSU.
And it will be called a common foul. Charleston will inbound on the baseline. Troy Wheeless looking to make things happen off the dribble penetration there.
A.J. Harris, Joe Wording checking back in for John Kress. Let's send it over quickly to Nate Ross. Maybe he has an update for us.
Adrian Meeks with the shoe off and probably getting a retape right here.
A.J. Harris back into the game. Joe Wording as well, as we mentioned earlier. 6-point game, 41-35. Wording spotting for three. Left it short. Lumpkin had the rebound. Gets it back. Dunks it and is fouled.
Boy, the physicality of Jody Lumpkin, the raw physicality, I should add. And, of course, Adrian Meeks on the bench getting the ankle tape. One less body in there for East Tennessee State. The miss by Wording, but watch the rebound out battling three Bucks, shrugging them off, and then finishing despite the foul.
Jody Lumpkin missed the free throw. It's a 4-point game.
Boy,
12-18 to go.
The missed free throws by a very good free throw shooting team have cost College of Charleston to this juncture, Tony.
The Cougars have missed some one-and-one situations and some two-shot free throws. They easily could be in the lead in this contest. Lumpkin now with 12 points, 4 of 5 from the field, 4 of 6 from the line. Nice move. Great move underneath. Won't get the roll, will DeCoster. But an excellent move, and then he got Wording in the air, and it was all over after that.
Boy, textbook zone offense there. The skip pass and the dribble penetration right to the weak side glass. And, man, strong move there. The contact, obvious. Wording with the foul. DeCoster to the line.
Coster tonight 2 of 4 from the free throw line, make it 3 of 5.
Man, the free throw stats in this ballgame, Charleston has had a ton of opportunities and has cashed at a percentage much lower than its nationally ranked average. And right now, East Tennessee State making Charleston pay on the free throw line.
ETSU leading by 6. 11:57 to go. Let's take a timeout. You're watching CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. Good look at Adrian Meeks across the way, testing that right ankle, which he has had taped. Let's send it over to Nate Ross for more.
Adrian Meeks, he just ran right by me a second ago, guys, and he's hopping, as you can see. I don't know if the camera's on or not on both legs. He gave me the nod and said, I'm fine, and there he goes sprinting in the wrong direction. He's ready to roll. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Nate. In a game such as this, that those ankles get better in a hurry.
And one number that is not ready to roll for College of Charleston currently, free throw shooting 10 of 17 from the line, 58.8%. This one of the top free throw shooting teams in the country.
Some pressure by ETSU as they extend their zone. And Leighton Bowie, who's been quiet since early on, gets blocked. Jump ball, ETSU possession. Good defense by the home team.
And we don't expect anything other than that. As we teased before the game, East Tennessee State, the top field goal percentage defense in the Southern Conference. College of Charleston, the top scoring defense in the Southern Conference. And we're right on that kind of pace too, Tony. 43-37 and a little under 12 minutes left in regulation.
ETSU has dominated the boards 29-16. You see Adrian Meeks, he is back in. Hobbles his way to the top of the key. A la Willis Reed.
You know he's going to play through this in a game like this, Tony. If he can possibly play, you know he's going to dig in and play.
The Cougars have never led. Foul on Wheeless. Third foul on the Cougars. And foul number 2 on the sophomore from Bunn, North Carolina.
Fresh shot clock. East Tennessee will inbound on the baseline.
The one number that has kept Charleston in this game is the fact they have only 4 turnovers. DeCosta thought about the 3, didn't take it. Big possession with ETSU up by 6.
Bucks don't need to be in any hurry here.
Meeks, DeCosta, great ball movement. Fields out to McDuffie. High archer left it short, but he'll get his own rebound. Underneath, Meeks won't go. Loose ball, Wheeless has it.
Boy, that's the kind of bucket you remember in possession. You remember as a possible turning point in this game. East Tennessee had some great looks, couldn't finish. Charleston looking to cut into the 6-point margin.
Jody Lumpkin. Thomas Mobley. Leighton Bowie spinning. Shot may have been blocked. They say it's off of Lumpkin.
Exactly the scenario East Tennessee State wanted. The lead, a low-scoring ball game on their home court.
Rich, back-to-back possessions now. We've seen Leighton Bowie maybe a little impatient on the offensive end, really trying to force the issue.
I think the ball was barely tipped by Adrian Meeks, helping from the weak side and resulting in a short shot.
Nearing the 10-minute mark. Remaining in the contest, Charleston with just 37 points.
Charleston must find a way to dig in and get some stops.
Left Lawson wide open. Offensive rebound.
Boy, the rebounding critical. We spoke about second chance points before the ball game, and here's another opportunity for East Tennessee State.
There's 31 rebounds for the Bucks.
You can see East Tennessee State with a commanding rebounding edge in this ball game.
Check that, they're 33rd. Shot clock at 14.
Part of the problem for Charleston is playing.
Stolen by Leighton Bowie. McDuffie went right around Bolton. Bowie able to get a hand on it.
The zone defense for Charleston gives up rebounds to East Tennessee State. East Tennessee State has to do a better job converting the second chance opportunities.
Get it into Lumpkin. Double team. Shoots over. And he's fouled. Fields fouled Lumpkin. And he'll go to the line, which hasn't been friendly tonight for the Cougars.
East Tennessee State is getting it done on the interior with volume. They're coming at Jody Lumpkin with double teams, with triple teams, and with different players seemingly in each possession. This time, Gerald Fields with the assignment against Lumpkin.
So Lumpkin to the free throw line.
And the margin now perilously thin for College of Charleston. Simply cannot afford too many more misses here.
Well, Lumpkin hits the first. 13 points, a pair of rebounds. Troy Wheeless back in, and Leighton Bowie will have a seat on the bench. Lumpkin will try to make it a 4-point game. Charleston has been within 1 point here in the second half. They close it to 30-29 on a 3-pointer by Wheeless. Lumpkin hits both.
A game being measured a possession at a time. Charleston will now play 2-2-1 zone defense. Pressure. Looking for the trap right in this area.
Meeks able to get it off to Lawson. Bad ankle and all. 9:10 remaining.
And out of the 2-2-1 press, back to the matchup zone defense for College of Charleston.
Duffy on the baseline to Meeks. Skips it to DeCosta. Now here's Lawson. Dump into Meeks. Boy, they moved the ball extremely well, do the Bucks. Meeks, turn around, jump hook, got it.
He is one of the heroes of this ball game to this point for East Tennessee State, not only with his scoring and activity, but the fact that he had a tweaked ankle early in this half, came back, and is being very effective as he is.
6-point game. Thomas Mobley forced it, missed it. Rebound Lumpkin. Mike Stewart says he was fouled, I believe. Thought for a moment he might call a travel. Instead, it is a foul, and Lumpkin will shoot the 1-and-1.
Charleston once again will go to the line conspicuously ahead of East Tennessee State in the bonus situation. Charleston with a ton of free throw opportunities in the first half that it left uncashed. Must convert now.
Trailing by 6, and points have been precious tonight. And Lumpkin misses the front end of a 1-and-1. That is the 3rd time tonight that Charleston has missed the 1-and-1. 8:21 to go. Charleston back to the zone.
East Tennessee State in no particular hurry, nor do they need to be against a zone. They can operate at their own pace.
McDuffie. Baseline to field. Shot clock, as you see on the bottom left of the screen. DeCoster missed it short. Rebound bolted. Loses it, gets it back. Crowd wanted to travel, and Lumpkin nearly threw it away right in front of us.
East Tennessee State in the man-to-man. Charleston punches it right inside to Jody Lumpkin, but the ball tipped out of bounds.
We've got a timeout on the floor. 7:40 remaining. ETSU continues to lead. They've led from the beginning. You're watching CSS. For the latest in College of Charleston hoops, tune in to the John Crest Show Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then again on Thursdays at 6 p.m. That's right here on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. And my partner, Rich Jablonski, will team up with John Crest for the John Crest Show. And that, folks, anytime you get to watch those two in action should be a lot of fun, Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Weekly look at College of Charleston basketball. Zone defense coming out of the timeout by East Tennessee State. 2-3.
Roth side gives it back to his teammate Bolton. Wheeless will launch a three and hit. Charleston's only hit a pair of those tonight, but both from the sophomore out of Bunn, North Carolina, and it's a three-point game with 7:17 remaining.
We mentioned Wheeless before the game as a potential key for the College of Charleston Cougars for precisely that reason. He will get looks against these zone defenses.
Coster really took it the distance. Take a look at the turnovers. Charleston really in this game because of that number.
And Charleston with a significant edge, not surprisingly, given the turnover numbers and points off turnover.
Nice ball movement again. Corey Seals, a freshman, gets a bucket underneath. It's a four-point game again.
Native of Charleston, South Carolina, Corey Seals.
And the Cougars trailing by 5, I should say, underneath Jody Lumpkin. Strong move, blocked underneath by Johnson, and the rebound pulled down by ETSU.
Reynaldo Johnson helping Corey Seals there.
McDuffie free on the baseline, missed the shot. Lumpkin gets the rebound.
Man, these teams are going at each other exactly as you would expect for great defensive teams. They scratch and they claw, and they are committed on the defensive end.
Rudy Rothside forced it, missed it. Not a good shot by Rothside.
Not down by 5 with 6 minutes left in the game.
Foul, Rudy.
Oh, what a basket by McDuffie! DJ McDuffie coming off the bench. A veteran player, 6'4" senior from Greensboro, North Carolina. And he has just given East Tennessee State the working margin that it needs headed into the endgame scenario with this circus shot over the foul by Rudy Rothside. And he might have even been A.J. Harris with the foul, either one with the contact.
Tremendous presence by McDuffie to get the shot off. This free throw could make it an 8-point game. He misses and Bolton gets the rebound. We'll mark it down. 6:07 remaining in the game when McDuffie gave his team their biggest lead of the second half.
1-3-1 defense now.
Bolton open for three.
And Jeff Bolton simply has not found the mark from the perimeter tonight.
McDuffie. Depth perception, I should say, I think certainly came into play on that 3 attempt. 7-point game nearing the 5.5-minute mark.
Ed DeCellis doing a masterful job switching up the defenses, showing College of Charleston man and 2 different kinds of zone, 2-3 and 1-3-1.
Foul on A.J. Harris.
Should be the 15th foul on College of Charleston. 3 on A.J. Harris.
So ETSU will inbound with a 7-point advantage. Now, Charleston is used to playing in games where they've had to come from behind late and win.
The difference is you're trying to come from behind against a team that's one of the top defensive teams in your conference, Tony. It is tough to make that kind of run against a team like this, especially on its home court.
And if you look at the numbers as the 3 is hit That may have put the dagger in the heart. Childress with a 3. The lead is 10. 5:05 to go. John Kress wants a 30-second timeout. When you have the lead, you're much more confident when you shoot those threes.
It's a real problem for College of Charleston, not only playing from behind throughout this game, but Charleston's most effective defense for most of this game has been zone. East Tennessee State's doing a great job attacking the zone. This time Childress winds up with the ball in his hands and knocks down the 3.
Well, when you look at the numbers going on games played, looking at the roster, the Cougars are near the midway point of the Southern Conference, meaning a number of games played total by their entire roster. ETSU is right up to the top. I think they're ranked second, right behind Wofford. The experience plays such a big part. In fact, we saw 2 years ago Charleston had the most experienced team in the league, and it paid off.
In games like this, gut check type games, you look to veteran players to make the big plays. And this place is wild right now. The crowd on its feet, Tony.
Take a look, ETSU, it's still 4 timeouts remaining. The Cougars with 2. College of Charleston with a turnover. Fields stepped into the passing lane, something that the Bucks like to do, overplay. They come up with the turnover.
Charleston at times has struggled scoring, and against a defensive team like this, really struggling tonight, Tony.
DeCoster, who just hit the big 3. Childress, I'm sorry, it was Childress that hit the 3, and he just hit another one.
It is flowing right now for the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. Tomiko Childress quiet for much of this game, but he's just knocked in a couple big 3-baggers.
And the Cougars down by 13.
10-0 run for East Tennessee State.
Another turnover.
And this one has definitely gotten away from College of Charleston. Give full credit to East Tennessee State for the defensive persistence and, as you called it, Tony, the ability to create and make scoring opportunities on the offensive end. Tomiko Childress, one of the top 3-point shooters in the Southern Conference. Here's why. Bang.
So ETSU 4 minutes away from staying in first, and Childress another. 8 consecutive points by Childress, and he has single-handedly buried Charleston late in this contest. It's a 15-point game.
Charleston coming out and playing man-to-man that time. East Tennessee State executing and creating the opportunity.
Lumpkin missed the 3.
The wheels have come off for the College of Charleston Cougars, Tony.
Very seldom do you see a John Kress coach College of Charleston team, I don't want to say lose the composure, but panic just a bit down the late in the game. And that time Lumpkin really forcing the shot and now being called for the foul.
It is a composure issue right now, without a doubt, Tony.
We have a media timeout. This game was tight about 4 minutes ago, but ETSU now leads by 15. Back right after this on CSS. Hey fans, if you want to keep up with what's going on CSS each day, then the place for you is going to be the CSS website. That's www.css-sports.com. You'll find our weekly schedule there, as well as other information about the network. CSS, it's your source for sports in the Southeast.
Why is East Tennessee State ahead in this ball game, Tony? A big run here to break open a close game, but defensively getting the job done. 14 of 42 from the floor for College of Charleston, 33.3%, and a 37-21 edge in rebounding for East Tennessee State.
Steal by Bolton. Gets it back from Nelson, pulling up on the runner, and it's a 13-point game. Taking a look at those numbers as well. ETSU shooting 51%. No team has shot 50% against Charleston this year, but the Bucks look to be well on their way.
Now, if you're Charleston, you're looking to apply pressure. You're trying to create turnovers and transition, and you are hoping to get East Tennessee to a point where they have to hit free throws.
Another turnover. Nelson, was he fouled or did he step out of bounds? He was fouled, so Charleston has forced a pair of quick turnovers and a chance with a pair of free throws now to make it an 11-point game. Never say never. Well, we have seen this Charleston team over the years, Rich, and you've been a part of this. 10-point deficit a few years ago at Campbell with about 4 minutes to go, and Charleston roared back from behind.
Have seen it many times, Tony, but the atmosphere in this building tonight and East Tennessee State's defensive ability certainly mitigates against that type of comeback. One thing that I did notice going into that timeout, there a look at John Kress, by the way, I thought East Tennessee State was elated and perhaps a little bit early so. You know, if you're looking at it from that perspective, perhaps a little bit of an early celebration, and right now just needs to settle down and have a good offensive possession, and the ball game is over.
Yeah, because the clock is certainly in their advantage, and you talk about, I don't know if it's so much the crowd as it is the competition. ETSU, certainly a great basketball team.
The environment here tonight is electric. East Tennessee State has electrified its fans. They turned out for East Tennessee State. There was actually an editorial in the editorial section of the local newspaper urging people to come out to this ball game and support the Bucks. And man, they've come out. The Bucks have given them something worth supporting.
Childress, they're going to call a foul on Wheeless.
And it's a fresh 35 because Charleston, nope, that is the 7th team foul on College of Charleston. So 1-1 for East Tennessee.
So Troy Wheeless will head to the bench, and Quinton Hollis will check in, and 1-1 situation.
Tomiko Childress, a 73.6% free throw shooter.
13 points and 9 rebounds for the Childress. And 8 of those 13 now make it 9 out of 14 have come during this run.
And you say
they really put this game away.
And you say he's just a little guy. How come so many rebounds? Well, he went for 18 and 9 this past Saturday against Western Carolina. He is very active on the glass.
He hits a pair. 14-point advantage with 1:58 remaining. Cougars offense tonight has let them down. On the road this year, averaging just 63 to begin with. As Nelson misses the shot and Bowie will get the put in. For some reason, Rich, the Cougars have really struggled away from home, the offensive end. And tonight, no different. Foul by Hollis. 10th team foul, or check it, 8th team foul on the Cougars. So still the 1-1 situation for the Bucks.
Statistically, perhaps DeCoster a preferable choice in terms of picking players to foul as opposed to Childress, but you're still looking at a veteran player who's been through the wars and a guy who hits 67% of his free throws. There really is no good choice for College of Charleston now. The clock dictates quick fouls.
They miss it. There's Lawson, offensive rebound.
That's a killer. The long rebound, Lawson darting in and was able to scoop it up.
Steal by Nelson. Tackled at midcourt. And we've got a jump ball. And they say timeout ETSU. And now words by Lawson and Nelson.
And let's all have cooler heads prevail. I know that this is a moment of high intensity and high excitement for both of these teams to reset the stage. The #1 team in the South Division of the Southern Conference, College of Charleston, on the road versus the #1 team in the North.
Let's take a look at what happened. Nelson with the quick hands, able to knock the ball away.
Thought Nelson had a clean steal here.
And, oh, that's a foul on ETSU. Yep, that's just a missed call, unfortunately, for the Cougars, and ETSU will get it. And then they get the break where the official, Antonio Petty, not only did he not call the foul, but he gives them the jump ball. 1:28 to go. So the College of Charleston, let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. Offensively on the road, have struggled this year. Now, I guess a lot of people don't realize it. I guess when you think of Cougar basketball, you think about great teams. You also think about experienced teams. But John Kress really, his team's very inexperienced.
He really only has one senior playing, that being Jody Lumpkin. The other senior on this team is James Griffin, who has seen his playing time decrease as the season has gone along. That lack of veteran leadership on the floor really hurts College of Charleston. Another area where College of Charleston struggles, frankly, is from the point guard position. It's very easy to double down against inside players against College of Charleston, because especially when A.J. Harris is on the floor, because he's not particularly an offensive threat. And it puts an awful lot of pressure on Charleston's interior players to produce against double or even triple teams.
And so the foul taken by ETSU, and they'll head to the other end. And again, we'll shoot the 1-1. That is the 9th team foul on the Cougars. 1:26 to go. If you're wondering, the lowest scoring output of the year for the Cougars is 54. That came in a win, however, 54-51 at Furman. Right now they're stuck on 47. Free throw in the air. No good. Another offensive rebound for ETSU.
Well, we talked about the keys to this ball game beforehand. Scoring points off turnovers. Charleston has an edge there because East Tennessee State has simply turned the ball over more than College of Charleston. But second chance opportunities, East Tennessee State's been all over the glass on both ends, Tony, and has a significant edge there.
Fans are, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Free throws as well. College of Charleston shooting them very poorly as a team this evening. And East Tennessee State now doing some damage of its own as this game winds down.
You look at the rebounding numbers, 40 to 22 is what we have. That is amazing.
That is what we call a crushing on the glass. That is not a number that you can overcome, Tony.
You know, this was anybody's ball game with about 6 minutes to go.
And then East Tennessee State and Tomiko Childress lit it up.
A pair of threes by Childress. A couple of quick turnovers on the other end. And before you could blink an eye, ETSU vaulted out to a 15-point lead.
East Tennessee State playing with tremendous confidence, playing with the full support of the crowd here at the Memorial Center, and really looking like a team that has every intention of being around for the big games that come the Southern Conference Tournament in March.
Now the Cougars will fall to 19-4. John Kress looking to win the 20th game this year for his club, which would have been, Rich, for the 17th time in 22 years and the 8th straight season. That will certainly have to wait till this weekend, possibly, or later on this season sometime. But this now will be a situation where the Cougars will fall to 9-2. They had an opportunity, Rich, to really put some distance between them and Chattanooga in the South Division. And now there'll be 3 teams right at the top. Well, I should say, when you look at 9-2 ETSU, 9-2 College Charleston, and then Greensboro at 8-3, all 3 of those teams are playing very well.
I think you have to look at those 3. Ronaldo Johnson, one of our spotlighted players before the game, 10 points and 10 rebounds, very active, especially early in the game, Tony. He helped get his team off to a great start.
Charleston, should say the Cougars, are 43 and will go to 43-6 all time in the Southern Conference. That includes tournament action. There's a pair of free throws are nailed by Johnson. Double-double for him tonight. 15-point lead, just over a minute remaining.
I think there's going to be some serious soul searching in the Charleston camp after this one, Tony.
Lumpkin had it, knocked away by Fields. He'll save it. And it's going to be ETSU ball. Well, that, I think, kind of sums up this game. Loose ball scramble. And both players gave a great effort, but it went ETSU's way.
I think ETSU got off early in this game and has played from ahead throughout. And I can't tell you how much easier it is to play with a lead instead of fighting to come back into a ball game. Charleston made a number of runs at ETSU, but at the decisive moment, ETSU had a little bit more gas in the tank and was able to put this game away with one decisive run late in the second half.
So the Bucks will improve to 14-8, 9-2. Charleston now 19-4. They too are 9-2. Johnson missed the dunk.
And how far this East Tennessee State program has come in Ed DeChellis' 5 years at the helm.
And John Kress says don't foul.
He has taken this program from a cellar dweller to the top of his division and now has knocked off arguably the consensus favorite for the Southern Conference Championship.
Well, that's still to be debated in March in Greenville. But for this night, Ed DeChellis and his Bucks are the best team in the SoCon as they rout the College of Charleston. As you look at the field goal shooting, the Cougars at 34% tonight, tops in the league at 46, but give credit to ETSU. They have been playing great defensively.
That is consistent with ETSU's performance all season long. The #1 field goal percentage defense in the Southern Conference, and they lived up to that reputation tonight, Tony, against a team that prides itself on the ability to execute in the half court. East Tennessee, with its changing defenses, man, a couple different zone looks, took College of Charleston out of its offense early and never let the Cougars get going.
Yeah, the Cougars' worst loss in Southern Conference history. The previous was a 13-point loss at home to Davidson, but this one was a great game early. We saw ETSU get off to the quickly. Charleston battled back. But as we have seen, Rich, a lot of teams, when they play at Charleston, it's hard to get over the hump. And when the Cougars couldn't get over the hump, ETSU took advantage. Let's send it over to Nate Ross for one final word.
You know, as you guys said, what happened with 6 minutes to go was the Buccaneers found another level. That's what you have to do in February. That's what you definitely have to do in March, and that's what every team in the Southern Conference wants to do when they get to Greenville. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Nate. College of Charleston falling again 9-2, 9-2, improving ETSU. Following the conclusion of this game, stay tuned as the Pennsylvania Quakers travel across town to battle Villanova. That's right here on CSS. It's your source for sports in the Southeast. Penn and Villanova coming up next. For my partners, Richard Jablonski and Nate Ross, and everyone involved with CSS, until Saturday from the John Kress Arena. So long from Johnson City, everyone.